Hey guys, how you doing? It's Brad with ATRE Podcast.com, all things real estate. I'm really excited about my first guest, Brad Gandel from Simi Valley, California. He also works at Pinnacle Estate Properties in the Ventura County area, and we're so happy to have him here. Brad was born and raised in Simi Valley, California, where he's been selling real estate since 2013. He graduated from UC Riverside with a bachelor's degree in sociology, administrative studies, with an emphasis in marketing. Now, selling real estate was not Brad's first choice, but the family business came calling, and it's been really good to him. Brad's a third-generation realtor. He followed his grandfather and his father, Alex Gandel, into the business. Now, he has a podcast called The Bradcast, which also focuses on Simi Valley real estate. Brad married the love of his life, Sasha, in 2020, and they live in Simi Valley as well with their puppy Delilah. How beautiful. Welcome, Brad. How are you?
Good. Great name, by the way.
Hey, you too, man. I like
At least
it.
I can spell your name.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me. And yeah, I've listened to a few episodes and pretty good. They're actually really, really good. So
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Brad, let me ask you, let's just dive right into it. So how has COVID affected your real estate business?
if anything, it's actually increased my business. I mean, when this thing happened, so what was it, March last year? I can't believe it's already been 10 months, 11 months almost. Nobody knew what was going to happen. You know, we were sitting at the house and like, oh my goodness, we were not essential, us as in realtors.
Right.
And I had clients and people calling me left and right. Brad, what's going to happen? I don't know. I mean, I've never sold real estate during a global pandemic. I don't know if you've sold real estate during a global pandemic.
Never.
So for me, it was like, okay, what's going to happen? And once we were deemed essential, business kind of just kept going normally. And I actually asked my dad, who's been selling for 40 years now.
Your dad is a wonderful, wonderful realtor, great guy. I've done a few transactions with him over the many years, and yeah, you've learned from a really you have a very classy family, and
thank you.
I'm really happy you're at our company, man.
Yeah, I love it, and my business just from coming here is just taking off like crazy. So, but the first thing I asked my dad, I'm like, dude, why are we still selling if we don't know what's going to happen with people? And he's like, but you got to think about the people who still have jobs.
That's right.
And the first deal I did, our first new client I met after this all started, they were both nurses. He's an ER nurse and she's a delivery nurse. I'm like, well, there's still going to be people that need to buy or want to buy, and they're going to be essential and still working. So, and that's what I really noticed at that time. And then most of my stuff has been listings. Right. I actually just closed a buy yesterday, and that was the first buy I've sold in 4 months, 5 months. It's
Brad, what areas are you specializing in? Are you just Simi Valley, or do you go everywhere?
I'm everywhere. I mean, most of my business is Simi, but I'm all over. I don't restrict myself. I like to tell people I'm restricted to California.
That's great. And do you work specifically with your dad, or are you completely on your own?
Never have. So I told him when I got into the business, said, look, dude, it's just going to be just me. I want to build my own brand and my own business.
Yeah.
And I respect that. Having the name I have, a lot of people assume we work together.
Yeah.
We don't, unless he calls me and says, hey, dude, help me out with the deal, we'll split it. I'm not going to say no to that.
But he's a great wealth of knowledge probably to bounce things off of.
The first 5 years in the business for me, 6 years, I had my desk in his office.
Good.
And he has 3 assistants. And the sole reason I did that was because I wanted a sponge. I just wanted to learn everything.
It's like going to the Brad Gandel and Alex Gandel University. I mean, every assistant I've ever had, I put them in my office when they start, and they literally tell me it was like going to college for them. That they
the best decision I've ever made was just sitting there and sponging. Like I said, 5 years of gathering knowledge, and he does consistently 75 plus deals. And when the market crashed, I think he did. His top was like 110 transactions. So I'm learning my own deals, but to learn another 80 plus every year, even though I have no affiliation with them,
Yeah.
it gives me an idea. Okay, here's what I could do if I ever come across a situation like that.
So Brad, being a guy who's been in the business, I think you've said 7 or 8 years now, right?
Yeah, 8 years this
Okay.
year.
So 8 years, you're still a newbie compared to me, right? 20 something years. So what advice would you give to a new agent, someone who's just getting into the or thinking of getting into the business, into real estate? What advice could you give them to kind of help them out or and put their mindset correctly?
So I've read some statistics. I think 1 out of every 16 people who get a license, real estate license, actually stay in the business past 2 years.
Yeah.
Um, and the reason, one of the main reasons, people don't know what they're getting into. They just think, hey, I open a door and that's it.
Yeah.
There's so
They
much more
like to see houses. Yeah.
there's so much more to this business. And the other thing I really tell people, well, so I'll back up. You got to give it time. You have to give it a chance to build. You're building a brand. You're building a business. When I started, I gave myself 5 years before
Right.
I knew if I was going to stay in or find something new. Reason is I knew it was going to take a while to build business, figure out how I wanted to sell or what I really wanted to try and specialize in. And then the other thing is I've actually had somebody or new licensees come to me and they were doing it part-time and they're like, hey, what do I have to do? And I'll never forget this. This one gentleman worked at Nordstrom's. I was
Yeah.
selling for like 2-3 years at the time. It's like, what do I have to do, to make it big? First thing I told him was, you need to quit Nordstrom, and his jaw
Yes.
just dropped. And he's like, I can't do that. I got bills and stuff to pay. And I'm like, do you want to make a living in this career? He said, yeah. And I'm like, you can't be doing something else. This is a full-time career job. No matter what, when we're on vacation, you're working. When you're home sick as a dog,
Yeah.
you're
You're
home working.
working. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Dude,
I'll never forget. I'll never forget in 2000 and maybe 2007. Yeah,
Mhm.
2007. I had emergency appendicitis and I came out. They said, you died on the operating table. They gave me a medication and I actually died and they revived me. But I had to have a heart surgery to go along with it that year. Now, I'll never forget. It was like yesterday. Had a huge year. I was working from my hospital bed on my computer. People are telling me, calm down. I'm like, no, gotta work. And I
Yes.
get out of the hospital, and Jeff Black, well, he gave me an award. I was number 7 in the whole entire company that year. And
No way.
yeah, and Jeff Black said, I don't know what this guy did, but you should all feel horrible because he was in the hospital for a month and he's number 7 in the company, and that's all I know is work. I just work and I
Yeah.
enjoy it. And it doesn't feel like work, right? When you enjoy what you do, it's a pleasure to be doing it.
Well, and that's the wild part about this is, it's am I really working or am I having a good time,
Right.
doing what I do? And we're not just realtors. That's the other thing I guess people don't realize. I'd say I'm probably 20% realtor and I'm about 15% therapist and
Oh
about
yeah.
10% punching bag.
Yeah.
Uh,
Fireman, you're putting out fires all the time.
Dude, yeah, I couldn't tell you. I could have made bank probably just being a psychiatrist and charging
Yes.
clients by the hour just to
Absolutely.
help soothe them over and calm them down over
Where do
over
you see real estate headed, Brad?
as far as this year or just
In general, this year, let's talk about this year. Where do you see it headed this year? See it going up?
I think this year we're going to see prices go up, demand still increasing. Having said that, you're going to see interest rates go back up.
Yeah.
I think, and we've already seen that this year. And that's going to try and slow down the market a little bit.
Right.
Overall, as far as numbers go, do I think it's still going to be up? Yes, but not at the rate it was last year in 2020, or especially at the end of 2020. And I think we should start seeing a correction maybe by the end of this year, if not into next. And what I mean by correction is not like a market coming to crash like 07, 08. There's too many policies that the government's put in place to prevent that from happening.
That's right.
But I do think we're going to be seeing some corrections with the prices because of the interest rates. I read an article a couple months ago. It was cheaper for a mortgage in 2020 than it was in 2019, and prices were up through the roof. On average, they're about $85 cheaper because interest rates are so low. And until we start getting a little bit more inventory, it's going to be like that. So something has to give, whether it's going to be interest rates going up that causes the housing market to slow down a little bit, or
But
inventory.
interest rates will go up, but they won't go up more than 1% in a year.
And if they go up, I mean,
and when you're at two and an eight, two and
it doesn't matter.
7/8,
Yeah, if it's going up from
it'll
two
still
and a
be
half
an
to
all-time low.
it's
Hey,
it's crazy.
Brad, who's been the biggest influence in real estate for you? Who's your hero? Who's your
My
biggest?
dad. No, I grew up with it. I knew going into it, it's more than just selling houses. I've seen the long hours. As soon as I turned 16 and got my license, my dad was having me put out his open house signs every Sunday. So I understood the working on weekends. I understood the um, how hard it is. But he's always been there for me when I was a kid growing up. All my sports I played, he never missed.
That's great.
There's another agent in particular that I've become really good friends with. He's the same way. The guy could be making buco bucks, but he likes not to. He chooses not to work that hard so he could be with his family and kids more during the weekends and for all their sporting events. So that's what I've really looked up to.
I can tell you that's wonderful. You said that about your dad, and now you're married, and it'll be the same way. Some of the younger guys who I've coached in the business, who are now outperforming me, have said, Brad, if you wanted to, you could be making, $2 million a year. And I go, you're right. But guess what? I've never missed a kid's function. I've never missed anything with my family ever. And I still make an incredible living. So now my kids are going into college soon, and I'm kicking it right back into higher gear, and I'm passing everybody else up because I put all that time into spending time with my family and making a lot of money and taking care of my clients.
The best advice I was given when I started, I was 23 when I started. My dad told me, "Dad, be 23, be 24, be 25, go have your fun. You have to live." And trust me, right now is the time to be working at my absolute hardest. I don't have any responsibilities other than wifey and our dog. So, and I would be super happy and content if I did a quarter of the business my dad did for my career.
Oh,
but I could be home. I don't have to. I'm not killing myself, for business.
You do you. Hey, Brad,
So
let me ask you, how, in your opinion, how should an agent be preparing to have a successful 2021?
Obviously plan out, have the goals. Again, patience. It's going to be a really competitive, really tough year, especially a lot of people getting their license within the last couple of years. You're seeing everybody have a license, so you just got to be patient with it, and you got to keep working hard, keep calling, keep farming, marketing, whatever somebody's doing, social media, however you're trying to get your business. You got to be patient with it. You got to be consistent with it. And it'll pay off. It really will. And I'm one who will be the first to tell you, farming, for example, it's taken me probably 5-6 years of really figuring out how to farm and how to do it properly and how to spend the right amount of money. And last year was probably the best year of farming I've ever had.
That's great.
And so that's what I would recommend is just, again, patience and just sticking it out. You have to keep your head down and just keep
tenacity. Perseverance. Brad, tell me about your podcast.
So I came up with the idea a few years ago. I don't like doing videos, and for social media like Instagram, people's attention spans, mine included, I can't watch something for more than a minute, probably closer to 30 seconds. And I couldn't say what I really, really wanted to say. So the idea was, let's make a podcast for more of the consumer. I know yours is geared more towards coaching other agents, which again, I've gone to the car wash. I go to the car wash usually twice a week. And I could listen to 2 episodes while I'm waiting for the car to be clean.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to hear that.
That's the best part. I try to keep mine within about 30 minutes and just different topics, just for sellers, for buyers. I mean, I did episodes last year of my buyers and my sellers, asking them, what was it like to sell a home during a global pandemic? What was it like to close during a global pandemic? And that particular buyer, she started in the summer prior to the coronavirus stuff starting. So just anything. I've interviewed my contractor, my photographer, title reps.
I'm doing all the same. That's great.
Just a little everything to provide information to people who want to sit and listen to it. It's, again, for me, it's just something fun to do.
And guys, this is called the Bradcast. So make sure when you're listening to mine and you give me those 5 stars and you subscribe, go on to the Bradcast and subscribe. You can find him on all the major podcast networks as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Uh,
Brad,
iTunes, Spotify,
yeah,
Google, you name it.
what advice could you give to a seller right now if they were thinking about getting ready to sell their home?
Patience. I know the biggest thing people are hearing and reading right now is multiple offers. And you're showing a house and getting 12 offers. I've had listings that it took 12 showings to get one offer.
Yeah.
And the sellers were like, why are we getting one offer after 12? And I'm like, you have an offer. Why aren't you overly stoked about it? Don't sit there and listen to all the hoopla. It, you just got to be patient with it. And when you get the calls for the showings, I know it's not fun to have to leave the house for all these showings, especially right now, and having to maintain and sanitize the house, but it'll be totally worth it. But just be wary. Not every listing you're going to have or everything that goes up for sale, you're not going to get 15 offers. And a lot of times you don't want to have 15 offers
Yeah,
because
that's true.
that stress it puts on you and the agent, it's not fun. You don't want that. You want to try and make a decision as easy as possible with the most qualified buyer that you can have.
So great point. So now, what advice would you give to a buyer who's getting ready to buy in this kind of market? How can they prepare to
I
be
think the first thing I've been preparing my buyers for, again, I've only had so many buyers in the
Yeah,
past few months in listings. Um, if you see a price, be prepared to pay more if you really want the house.
right.
Just because it says 650, be prepared to pay close to 7. Be prepared to pay
Or
7
higher. Yeah.
at least, just because that's the current ask. I mean, I had a client text me the other night and the house was up for 2 hours, 3 hours. She's like, "Hey, do you think they have multiple offers by now?" And I said, "Probably, and
Yeah.
probably
It's the market.
over asking." That's just how it is. So if you're preparing to buy and you want to buy this year, be prepared to have to pay for more than what they're asking for, and do your due diligence. Shop around. Make sure you're getting the right lender that could work for you. Get an agent who's very communicative with the other agent, because to
Yeah.
me, in my eyes, that's
Relationships.
the
Right.
thing. If you're using an out of area agent, it may cost you. It may cost you. Consider using an agent in the local area you want to be in, and it'll help probably get your offer, if not push through. It'll definitely get you in contention.
Brad, let me ask you, if you were in Back to the Future, I ask all my people this, my interviewees, and if you were in Back to the Future and you were Marty, what would old Brad fly back and tell young Brad? What kind of advice could you give yourself?
Kind of advice I'd give myself. I mean, I think today the key word has kind of been patience, right?
So
If we're
would
gonna
you
go
fly
over
back
it,
and say, "Be patient, Brad. Be
yeah,
patient, Brad's son."
yes, exactly. You need to understand, like, dude, it's not gonna happen overnight. There's a lot that's gonna go into it. You're gonna see some
Right.
crazy up and downs, and some of the
Yes.
downs have been brutal. Dude, I've had spurts where I went 3 or 4 months without a closed deal. And then the next month I closed more than it made up for those
Yeah.
past 3 or 4
That's
months.
sales. Yeah.
It's just part of it. You need to understand that, but be smart, be prepared for the lows. And when you have those highs, ride that high. Stash money as much as you possibly can. Don't go out and have a spending spree, especially again, my age.
Good for you.
I
Good
never
advice.
made the type of money I've ever made. And me, when I want something, I tend to go get it.
Good
I
for
don't
you.
buy a whole lot of stuff for myself, but when I want it, I go get it. I don't wait for
You work hard.
Christmas or birthday or say, "Hey, Sasha, can you go get me this for my birthday?" No, I go get it. So again, I would just tell myself, just be patient, ride the highs. The lows are going to be pretty low, but it'll all work out. It always does.
The lows will make you a better person and a better agent.
I've learned so much more doing things wrong, and I'm learning every single day, dude. Every single day. I mean, I got another deal right now. I'm just like, golly, if I could go back, I would change this completely.
Yeah. Okay,
And
Brad, listen. How can a buyer or a seller get a hold of Brad Gandel if they want to use you to buy or sell in Simi or anywhere? What do they do? How do they get a hold of you? Talk to me.
I mean, I'm online. Social media is my biggest thing. Instagram, I have over 4,300 followers right now.
So let's
So,
talk about, give me your Instagram, your email, your phone number. Talk to us.
okay, so my Instagram, it's Brad Gandel Real Estate. Pretty easy. Same with Facebook. I know not many people use Facebook anymore, but I'm on Facebook as well. I
Okay.
don't really use LinkedIn. So, Instagram, like I said, tends to be the best thing that I
What's your
do.
phone number, Brad?
805-300-5206. And then my email is brad@bradgandel.com.
Hey,
Pretty
Brad,
easy.
it's amazing. And Brad's a great agent, and he comes from a great family, and we're really happy to have him here at Pinnacle in Simi Valley. Brad, it's been a pleasure having you today. And to all our listeners here, if you want to see the live version on YouTube, please go to YouTube to my All Things Real Estate page. If you would like, or channel, if you'd like to hear us, if you're listening to us on YouTube now and you want to go just do an audio in the car like Brad was talking about, then go to any major podcast site and type in All Things Real Estate or ATRE Podcast. You can go to if you're interested in coaching and getting my 5 free videos, every few days we'll send you a brand new video with secrets on how to be successful in real estate. Go to atrepodcast.com and sign up for it. atrepodcast.com. Brad, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Brad, appreciate you having me, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Hey, you're a wonderful guy, and I hope to do many deals with you in the future.
I can't wait till we do our first deal together. It's going to be a hoot.
It'll be great. Thanks, Brad.
All right. Appreciate it.